up on today's show, Nissan teases more information on the upcoming 2018 Nissan Leaf, why Donald Trump's Paris decision is driving electric bus sales, and the little pussy that ended up hiding in a Tesla Model X. Oh, these stories and more coming next on 10. Like all our content, today's show is funded by the in-stream ads on today's video and by the kind donations of viewers like you. Follow the link at the end of today's video to make a monthly donation to our Patreon crowdfunding campaign to help keep us independent and impartial. And if you're already donating, thanks for your continued support. It's Friday, June 23rd, 2017. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and I'd just like to give a shout out to all of you who came up to me and said hello at the EV Roadmap conference in Portland, Oregon this week. Thanks for all the kind words. It really does mean a lot. With the next generation Nissan Leaf due to officially launch in just a few months' time, we're starting to see and hear more about the second incarnation of Nissan's popular family hatchback. And this week, in addition to some new spy shots of the second generation Leaf wearing less camouflage than ever before, Nissan released a teaser video previewing the ProPilot semi-autonomous driver assistance package that will be offered on the 2018 Leaf when it launches in September. While I can't share the spy shots with you, I'm afraid, Transport Evolved doesn't have the budget needed to buy spy shots from the automotive paparazzi. The video and a single photo released by Nissan shows that the next generation Leaf gets a new steering wheel that's identical to the wheel we've seen used in its autonomous vehicle prototypes, as well as an all-digital dashboard that looks as if it will be fully customizable. ProPilot, says Nissan, will help you stay perfectly lined up in your lane and help control steering, acceleration and braking. Sure, it's not full level 5 autonomy yet, but I'm interested to see just what it will and won't do. Watch this space. If, like me, you've been watching the political situation in the UK in recent weeks following the general election, you'll know that things are, well, a little screwed up right now, with the UK Prime Minister enjoying her worst ever approval rating. But despite that, the UK government announced this week, as part of the Queen's annual speech in Parliament, that it would be working on new legislation designed to make it mandatory for large petrol stations and motorway service stations to install and support electric vehicle charging. It's all part of a new suite of packages designed to help the UK become a world leader in autonomous and electric vehicles, something the government is very keen to have. Obviously, there's no promising that the bill will make its way through Parliament, but given the support electric vehicles now have in the UK, I'd be very surprised if it didn't happen. Back to the US now, where the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety has awarded the Chevrolet Bolt EV the coveted Top Safety Pick Award for the car's excellent crash test results. Scoring a superior rating overall, the Chevrolet Bolt EV aced all of the crash tests, but missed out on the new Top Safety Pick Plus award due to its headlights' poor rating, caused by excessive glare, and its marginal rating for child seat installation ease of use. The Bolt EV has yet to be rated by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, but expect that in the coming months. Given the IIHS crash test ratings are as important as NHTSA tests, it's going to be interesting to see how the two compare. Watch this space. As the fastest electric car charging standard in use today, there's a lot of interest in Tesla's Supercharger standard. And while it's technically open source, no other automaker yet has decided to make Tesla's Supercharger standard in its vehicles. That could change, says Tesla CTO JB Straubel this week, who said that Tesla is currently in serious talks with several automakers about sharing the Supercharger network. It's not clear who those automakers are, but in the past, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has said that any sharing would need to be on either a quid pro quo basis, or the automaker in question would need to pony up for the use of Tesla's network. Also, it's worth noting here as a side that this week Tesla confirmed that existing Tesla customers who wish to continue to get unlimited Supercharger access when switching cars would need to order a new Tesla Model S or Model X by the end of this year. Otherwise, they'll be on the same Supercharger access policy as everyone else, free for the first 400 kilowatt hours per year and then pay to use after that. It's a perfectly reasonable move on Tesla's part, although with so many changes in Supercharger policy in recent months, I've got to say it's confusing as hell. Here's to a simpler, more easily understandable Supercharger policy in the future, Tesla. With several years of hydrogen fuel cell vehicle production under its belt, Hyundai has been working hard to promote its second-generation fuel cell SUV, a vehicle we saw previewed this year in March as the FE fuel cell concept vehicle. Back then, most of us assumed that this was a vehicle Hyundai intended to make in at least mid-volumes, but this week we learned via the Business Journal that the company is planning to build just 1,400 units a year to start with. Well, that's far more than the double-digit production figures for the Hyundai Tucson fuel cell SUV. It's hardly the kind of volumes needed to make hydrogen a viable alternative to petrol or diesel. In other words, expect the next generation FCV from Hyundai to be just as much a compliance car as the current one, and the real volume vehicles to come in the form of plug-in models. Looks like electric is well and truly won, eh? Now there's a surprise. Not. As an automaker that's been promising us all kinds of electric vehicles for a very long time, but hasn't really done much to bring them to market, is Volkswagen, which confirmed this week that it will be bringing its ID Buzz Minivan to market as a production car. Essentially a modern take on the iconic VW microbus, the ID Buzz will be based on Volkswagen's new modular electric vehicle platform and offer 300 plus miles, just under 500 kilometers of range per charge. But while the ID Buzz coming to market might excite you, don't hold off on buying your next electric car just yet. The ID Buzz will likely only enter production in 2022, a few years after the Volkswagen ID 5-seat car enters production in 2019. Back at the start of this month, President Donald Trump announced that the United States would be exiting from the Paris Climate Change Accord, making it one of the few nations in the world to not support the global goal of lowering climate change-causing greenhouse gas emissions. But while Trump's move has caused something of an outcry in the global community, it appears things may be backfiring in large parts of the US, with many cities doubling down on their efforts to reduce emissions by swapping out dirty diesel-powered buses and fleet vehicles for cleaner, greener ones. The big winner, reports Forbes, is electric bus company Proterra, which has seen a massive spike in orders since the start of the month. Right now, it has more than 400 buses on order, many of which were placed in the last month. With its high-end models capable of more than 700 miles in a single day, when paired with Proterra's special high-powered overhead charging stations, there's really no excuse for cities not to go electric. But it's not just buses either. As I learned this week when attending the EV Roadmap 10 conference in Portland, states like Washington and Oregon are doing everything they can to make sure they comply with the Paris Agreement. For example, Oregon Governor Kate Brown gave a rousing speech at the start of the conference, making it clear that electric vehicles, renewable energy, and the death of coal are top of the state's priorities moving forwards. Well done. It's made not far from where this show is filmed and is a cross between a motorcycle and a car, and now Arcimoto, the Oregonian company behind the SRK three-wheeler, is readying itself for an IPO. Having filed papers with the Securities and Exchanges Commission this week, there's a 21-day public review period before the IPO can become official. But as with many new companies seeking to make a name for themselves in the plug-in marketplace, there are a lot of challenges that lie ahead before Arcimoto will be in a position to turn a profit. As to the vehicle itself, having ridden, or should that be driven, an SRK for myself for the first time around Portland this week, I can certainly say that the three-wheeler is a fun and unique vehicle, but will it really attract attention from mainstream buyers? I'd love to think so, but honestly, I don't think so. As those who follow Elon Musk will know, his latest transportation project, The Boring Company, seeks to build tunnels under major cities through which automated, electrically powered car carriers shuttle people's cars from one side of the city to the other at speeds of up to 200 kilometers per hour, 125 mph. So far, some city planners, engineers and legislators have expressed doubt about the Boring Company and its goals, but this week, Elon Musk said Mayor Eric Garcetti of Los Angeles is interested in helping the Boring Company make its dream a reality. Garcetti even name-dropped Musk and the Boring Company during a recent ABC interview, reinforcing the idea that Los Angeles may get the first Boring Company tunnel. But, admitted Musk via Twitter this week, obtaining the permits for tunneling will be a lot harder than the technology itself. And while Garcetti is eager to help, there are a whole host of different agencies and stakeholders and landowners that will need to be convinced before it becomes reality. Watch this space. Currently known as Volvo's performance arm, Polestar has, to date, focused on squeezing extra horsepower out of Volvo engines for sporty performance on and off the racetrack. But this week, Volvo announced a rebranding of the Polestar brand as one which will be reserved exclusively for electrified performance Volvo models. Part of Volvo's push towards a future where all of its cars are powered exclusively by electricity. It is worth noting here that Volvo's press release uses the term electrified rather than electric, meaning that for now, it's most likely that the Polestar brand will be associated with high-end plug-in models, such as the Volvo XC90 T8 plug-in hybrid SUV, which is Volvo's flagship XC90. Eventually, I expect the Polestar brand to be all electric, but for now, it's a way for Volvo to produce high-power, lower-emission vehicles. But shouldn't Volvo just make all-electric, high-performance models instead? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. With the Tesla Model 3 getting ever so close to launch, the plug-in world is soaking in every single little bit of detail about Tesla's latest car, that every new spy shot is being scrutinized in great detail to try and figure out what we can expect at launch. Well, this week is no exception, with a whole new slew of spy shots of Model 3s in the wild, including a shot taken of a Model 3's center console while the car was charging. That shot, published in several places online, shows a Model 3 with 95 miles of range remaining at about a third of a charge, suggesting that the overall range of the Model 3 could push 300 miles. Of course, it's not clear if this car is one fitted with an entry-level pack or not, but given the Model 3 was originally slated to hit a range of 215 miles and the Chevrolet Bolt EV exceeds that, I think it's conceivable Tesla is doing everything it can to squeeze out 300 miles per charge. I guess we're going to have to wait a few more weeks, though, to find out if that range is accurate for an entry-level Model 3 or not. Sorry. And finally, if you've watched this show for any length of time, you might remember the "and finally" story from episode 89, which happened to be June 5th, 2015, in which a feral kitten was found stowing away inside a Tesla Model S. Cue lots of awing and a very cute end to that show. Well, it's happened again, except this time it's a Tesla Model X. Enter Tessie, a small orange kitten which somehow found its way into the wheel well of the luxury SUV. Luckily, the cat was safely removed and adopted by one of the Tesla technicians at the Tesla service center in question. So I guess that was another catastrophe averted. And on that note, I'm afraid it's time for me to say goodbye. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Visit transportevolved.com for more cleaner, greener, safer and smarter transportation news, or join in the conversation on Twitter @transportevolved. And if you liked what you saw today and want to help me make more shows like this, please consider making a donation to our Patreon crowdfunding campaign. I've left a link for which in the description below and a clickable one at the end of today's video. And I know that I've not been around much this month, and it pains me to say this, but next week I'm actually going to be on a vacation at a convention I've been planning on attending for more than 6 months. So I'm going to be back in 2 weeks' time with another show. In the meantime, I do have some fun videos to keep you occupied while I'm gone, so I hope you won't miss me that much. For now then, thanks for joining me. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. That was 10. Have a great weekend, and until next time, keep evolving.